Hello mga ka-Isip Math, it's me again, Teacher Koy, and welcome to Isip Math Tutorial. And for today's video, pag-uusapan po natin yung factoring polynomials. Actually, this is a continuation sa ating Module 1 nung nakaraang week. And for today's topic, we will discuss about the sum and difference of cubes, perfect square trinomials, general trinomials, solving problem involving factors of polynomials. And this is for grade 8 mathematics school year 2021-2022 quarter 1 module 2. Pero bago pong lahat, if you're new to my channel, please don't forget to subscribe at i-press yung notification bell para po lagi pa kayo updated sa lahat ng mga bagong videos po natin. At ang ating learning competencies, factors completely different types of polynomials, polynomials with common monomial factor, difference of two squares, sum and difference of cubes, perfect square trinomials, and general trinomials, and also solves problems involving factors of polynomials. At ang ating objectives, at the end of the lesson, you're expected to find the factors of perfect square trinomial, find the factors of general trinomial, and solve problems involving factors of polynomials. At isasama na din po natin yung find the factors of a sum and difference of cubes. Kasi nung nakaraang lesson po natin, na-discuss natin dun yung sum of cubes. Pero i-review natin yan ngayon. Okay, so let's start. So, difference of cubes. So, we have your difference of cubes in the form of x cubed minus y cubed is equal to quantity x minus y times the quantity x squared plus xy plus y squared. So, ito po yung form ng ating difference of cubes. So, we have here the example, factoring difference of cubes. Factor its polynomial completely. So, we will recall this form. Okay, this form x cubed minus y cubed is equal to quantity x minus y times the quantity x squared plus xy plus y squared. So, ang ating example ay a cubed minus 125. So, kung nakikita natin dito, our first term is a cubed and our second term is 125. So, first is we're going to find this one. Okay? So, yung a po natin, ibig sabihin nito, kasi ito po yung susundin natin, di ba? Okay? Yung a po natin, or x natin ay a, di ba? Kukunin natin yung cube root ng first term. Okay? Ito po siya. This is our given, di ba? Cube root ng first term, which is a. Tapos yung cube root ng second term. Yung cube root ng second term is 5, di ba? Because if we multiply 5 3 times, that is equal to 125. So, the cube root of 125 is 5. So, ito po yun. Quantity A minus 5. Saan galing si A? The cube root of our first term. Saan galing si 5? The cube root of our second term. Times the quantity A squared. So, yung A natin, yung cube root ng first term, i-square natin. So, nagiging A square. Plus 5A. Saan galing si 5A? Yung middle term kasi natin is, di ba, kung nakikita natin dito, di ba, x times y. So, it means the cube root of x and the cube root of y, multiply natin. So, same also here. The cube root of first term, which is a, and the cube root of second term, which is 5. So, nagiging 5a. Okay? Then, plus 5 squared. Diba? Sa ating formula dito, diba, y squared. So, dapat yung cube root ng ating second term is square natin. So, 5 square. So, simplify. Quantity a minus 5 times the quantity a squared plus 5a plus 25. Ba't naging 25? 5 squared is 5 times 5, that is 25. So, to check, what we're going to do? If we'll check this one. Okay. So, ito na po siya. Multiply natin to dito. So, that is a cube. Diba? Then, dito, negative 5 times 25, that is negative 125. And this one, okay, so as you notice here, opposite of the product of the cube roots gives the middle term. So, opposite. Okay? So, nagiging ganito. Sana po naintindihan po natin yung ibig sabihin. Okay? So, another example, we have our 8g cubed minus h cubed. So, the cube root of 8g is 2g. Diba? 2g, multiply natin 2g times 2g times 2g, that is 8g cubed. The cube root of h cube is h. So, nagiging ganito. This one is the cube root of first term and then the cube root of second term. Okay? Then this one is yung cube root ng first term, i-square natin. Diba? Then the middle term is the cube root of first term times the cube root of second term. And this one is the cube root of second term, i-square din natin. Simplify. So, nagiging ganito. Quantity 2g minus h times the quantity 4g squared plus 2gh plus h squared. So, sum of cubes, ito po yung na-discuss natin noong nakaraang araw. So, dapat ganito po yung form niya, di ba? X cube plus y cube is equal to quantity x plus y times the quantity x squared minus xy plus y squared. So, ang diferensya nito, yung kanyang sign. Difference is using the minus. The sum is using the plus sign. Okay? So, okay, we have here, note the sign. The sign of the second term in the binomial factor of a sum of difference of cubes is always the same as the sign in the original polynomial. Okay, so we have here the difference of cubes as you can see it here. Diba? Ito po yung nagkaiba nila. Okay? And in the trinomial factor, the first and the last term are always positive. Okay, kung babalik tayo dito, ito po yung first and last term, diba? Always positive. This one, may yung arrow at saka dito. Okay. Then, okay. Dito sila magkaiba ng sign. Dito sa, yan. Okay, opposite sign. Kung difference, minus sign dito, plus sign dito. Pag sum of cubes, plus sign dito, minus sign po dito. Okay? So, we have here the example of sum of cubes. Okay, so, n cubed plus 8. So, first, we'll get the cube root of first term, which is n, and the cube root of second term, which is 2. Okay, ito na po siya. Diba? Cube root of first term plus cube root of second term times the quantity. The cube root of first term, square po natin siya, kaya nagiging n squared, minus the cube root of first term times the cube root of the second term, plus the cube root of the second term, square. Simplify. So, we have here quantity n plus 2 times the quantity n squared minus 2n plus 4. So, that is our answer. Okay. So, we have another example. 64v cube plus 27g cube. The cube root of 64v cube is 4v. Diba? And the cube root of 27g cube is 3g. Okay. Substitute sa ating formula dito. We have here the first term, the cube root of first term, the cube root of second term. Then the cube root of first term is square po natin. Then the middle term is the cube root of first term times the cube root of second term. Then the last term is the cube root of our second term. Simplify. So this is now our answer. So I hope na nakuha nyo po. Okay, so punta po tayo sa perfect square trinomial. Perfect square trinomial, we have here x squared plus 2xy plus y squared is equal to quantity x plus y squared. Okay? And also, x squared minus 2xy plus y squared is equal to quantity x minus y squared. So, ang kaibahan nito, yung sign dito. Look at this one. Tapos, yung result is this one. Okay? So, para mas panintindihan po natin, let's go to our example. At saka yung steps. So, a perfect square trinomial is a result of squaring a binomial. So, kung meron kang binomial, tapos i-square mo, the result is a perfect square trinomial. A perfect square trinomial has first and last term which are perfect squares. Yung first term at saka last term, perfect square po siya. And the middle term which is twice the product of the square root of the first and last term. Okay, so if we go back this one, okay, ito po siya. Square root of yung first term natin at saka last term, di ba? Perfect square. Same also with this one. Tapos yung square root ng ating first term at saka square root ng ating last term, multiply po sila para maging middle term. Tapos, times 2. Okay? Ito po yung ibig sabihin nito. So, ito po yung how to factor perfect square trinomials. First is get the square root of the first and last terms. So, first term at last term, square root po nila. List down the square root as sum and difference of two terms as the case may be. Ito po yung example. We have here n squared plus 16n plus 64. So, this is a perfect square trinomial. Look at the first term, perfect square. The last term is also perfect square. Okay, so first is find the square root of the first term and the last term. Okay, since n squared, yung square root ng n squared is n, di ba? And the last term is, the square root of 64 is 8. Okay, then both the first and the last terms are perfect square. Okay, then yung middle term po natin, 16n, how to get this one? The square root of the first term, which is n, times the square root of the last term, which is 8, times 2. Diba? If we go back to formula, diba? 2 times first term tapos last term. So, ito na po siya. 2 times the square root of first term and the square root of last term, which is equal to 16n. Then, the given expression is a perfect square trinomial. So, the square root of the first term is n, and the square root of the last term is 8. The polynomials is factored as this one, quantity n plus 8 square. So, ito na po yung sagot natin, di ba? Quantity n plus 8 square. So, kumbaga, square of a binomial. Okay, if we expand this one, the result is a perfect square trinomial. So, this is our answer. So, take twice the product of the two terms to see if this is correct. Okay, so, n times 8 times 2 is 1. The result is 16n. So, ito po yung middle term natin. So, it means, tama po yung pagka-factor natin. Okay, so this is the middle term of the given trinomial. So, n squared plus 16n plus 64 is equal to quantity n plus 8 square. Okay, binomial, tapos in-square natin, the result is perfect square trinomial. Okay, so another example, we have here 4r squared minus 12r plus 9. First term, diba? Ito po siya. Square root of first term, the square root of first term and last term. Twice po siya, plus square root of last term. Okay, ito na po siya. Okay, so 4r squared, the square root of 4r squared is 2r. Okay, then the square root of last term, which is 9, is 3. 3 times 3 is 9. So the square root of 9 is 3. And look at the middle term. This is the square root of our first term and the square root of our last term. Tapos twice, okay, twice the product of the first term and the last term. So 2 times 2r times 3, the result is 12r. So therefore, our factor is, the answer is quantity 2r minus 3 squared. Okay, so if we multiply 2r to 3, that is 6r. Okay, tapos twice the product of the first term and the second term, the result is our middle term. So therefore, our answer is correct. Okay, so we have here, the answer is quantity 2r minus 3 squared. Okay, ito po explanation niya. Since 2 times 2r times 3 is equal to 12r, the middle term, so therefore, ang ating pagka-factor ay correct. So let's go to factoring general trinomials. Trinomials of this form are written in the form of ax squared plus bx plus c, where a and b are the numerical coefficients of the variables and c is the constant. So ito na po siyang general trinomial ax squared plus bx plus c. Yung a at saka si b, sila po yung numerical coefficient ng ating variable x. Tapos yung c ay constant. Okay, so we have here the directions. Always perform factoring using greatest common monomial factor first before applying any type of factoring. Okay, so we have here methods in factoring general trinomials. So we have two methods. First is factoring by inspection. Is used when the leading coefficient a is 1. So what if yung ating coefficient ng ating x squared or first term is 1? So we will use factoring by inspection. Okay, so example, we have here y squared plus 4y minus 21. So our first term is y squared. Kahit wala po siyang 1, automatic po yung leading coefficient niya is 1 or numerical coefficient niya is 1. So we will use factoring by inspection. Second one is factoring by grouping or AC method. Is used when the leading coefficient a is not equal to 1. So we have here the example. For example, we have here 2k squared minus 11k plus 12. So yung 2 natin, siya po yung leading coefficient or numerical coefficient ng ating first term. So therefore, we will use factoring by grouping or AC method. Okay, we have here the example. Factor y squared plus 4y minus 21. So first is, yung nakikita natin is yung leading coefficient ng first term is 1. Okay, so factor the leading term. So the factors of y squared are y and y. Y times y is y squared. And number 2, list all the factors of the last term. Okay, so ating last term is negative 21. So below are the list of all factors. So magiging ganito. Negative 3 times positive 7, the result is negative 21. Negative 7 times positive 3, the result is negative 21. And negative 21 times positive 1 is negative 21. And negative 1 times positive 21 is negative 21. Okay, so yan po yung ating list of factors ng ating last term. Okay, next. Third step, or number 3. Identify which factor pair sums up to the middle term. So lahat ng factors na negative 21, we will identify kung saan po sa kanila na if we add that to, the result is the middle term. Diba yung ating middle term is 4y. Okay, yung numerical coefficient is 4. So, nila lahat, ito lang si negative 3 plus 7 that if we add this to, the result is positive 4. Kung nakikita natin dito sa ating example, diba? Ito yung middle term, positive 4. So, therefore, we will use negative 3 plus 7. Then, number 4, or step number 4, write each factor in the pairs as the last term of the binomials. So, ano mangyari dito? We will do this one. Okay? Magiging y, pares po sila, di ba? Kasi yung factor ng y squared is y and y. So, therefore, yung isang y, pares kay negative 3. So, quantity y minus 3 times the quantity y. Yung isang y din, pares din kay 7 plus 7. Okay. So, yan po yung how to factor general trinomials kung ang kanyang leading coefficient ay 1. So, I hope naintindihan po natin. Okay, so we have here the second method, or method number 2, factoring by grouping or AC method. We have here the example, factor 2k squared minus 11k plus 12. Kung nakikita natin dito, yung first term ay, yung kanyang numerical coefficient or leading coefficient is 2. So, hindi na siya 1. So, we will use the factoring by grouping or AC method. Number 1, find the product of the leading term and the last term. So, the product of our leading term and the last term. Let's find that one. So, multiply 2k squared times 12. Diba? First term and last term, the product, the result is 24k squared. Okay. Number 2, find the factors of 24k squared whose sum is negative 11. So, let's find the factors of 24k squared na if we sum that one, the result is negative 11, which is our middle term. Okay, middle term. Yan. So, the factors of the factors of 24k squared that will sum up into 11k is 3k plus 8k. Diba? 3k and 8k. So, 3k times 8k, the result is positive 24k squared. Diba? So, ito po silang factor na to, na if we sum this one, the result is negative 11k. Okay. Ito na po siya. Number 3, or step 3, rewrite the trinomial as 4-term expressions by replacing the middle term by the sum factor. So, magiging ganito. Yung kaniyang middle term, diba, saan to galing si negative 3k at saka si negative 8k? Doon kay factor ni 24k squared. Okay, saan galing si 2k squared? Okay? Ito siya. Saan to sa galing? Diba, doon sa ating first term. 2k squared. Okay? Saan galing si 12? Ating last term. Okay, so nagiging ganito na po siya. Okay, 4-term expression. Then, step 4 or number 4 is group the terms with a common factor. So, let's group kung saan po yung common factor nila. So, nagiging ganito na siya. Pare si 2k squared kay 8k at saka si 3k at saka si 12. So, let's carry the sign. So, 2k squared is positive. May negative 8k. Okay, ganito. Tapos, negative 3k is 1 and positive 12. So, step 5 natin. Factor the groups using greatest common monomial factor or the GCF. The GCF of 2k squared minus 8k is 2k. And the GCF of 3k plus 12 is negative 3. So, magiging ganito na siya. Okay? Okay, ito 2k squared minus 8k. Ang kanyang GCF is 2k. Okay? Then, 3k plus 12. Ang kanyang GCF ay negative 3. Then, if we simplify this one, 2k cancelled out. k squared, may naiwang isa, cancel yung sa baba. So, the result is k, ito. Tapos, 8k over 2k, cancel si k, 8 divided 2 is 4, that is minus 4. Sa kabila naman, 3k over 3, cancel si 3, negative 3, naiwan si k, dito siya. Tapos ito, 12 divided negative 3, the result is negative 4. Okay? So, thus, 2k squared minus 8k, or quantity 2k squared minus 8k plus quantity negative 3k plus 12 is equal to 2k, this one 2k, times the quantity k minus 4, okay, k minus 4, minus 3 times quantity k minus 4. Okay, so for step number 6, or number 6 is factor out the common binomial and write the remaining factors as sum or difference of binomial. So magiging ganito na siya. Therefore, the factors of 2k squared minus 11k plus 12 is quantity 2k minus 3 times k minus 4. So I hope na-gets po yung ibig natin sabi. Medyo mas complicated ng konti yung method number 2 kaysa method number 1. Okay. So now we'll go to solving problems involving factors of polynomials. Special products of factoring can also be used to solve day-to-day problems. We know that the most fundamental procedure in solving a word problem is to determine exactly what we are looking for and then represent the unknown data using variables. We have here the problem. The sum of two numbers is 22 and the sum of their square is 250. Find the numbers. So ito po yung mga problem solving na involving factors of polynomial. So first is representation. Diba? Sinabi dun sa definition kanina na gagamit pa tayo ng mga variables. So we will let x be the one of the two numbers. Diba? Kasi if you are the sum of two numbers is 22. Therefore, x, yung first number, tapos plus the other number. The result is 22. Diba? Tapos, and the sum of their squares, if we square the first term and the second term, the result is 250. Okay? So, let x be the one of the two numbers. So, x, yung first number. Tapos, since hindi po natin alam yung other number, second number, tapos alam natin yung sum, which is 22, the sum of two numbers is 22, therefore, 22 minus x, by x yung first number, so 22 is the result. So, 22 minus the first number, which is x, be the other number. Okay, so 22 minus x is our second number. Okay, so, step 2 is the equation. Ang sabi kasi dito, and the sum of their square is equal to 250. So, if we square the first number and the second number, the result is 250. So, the equation is like this. So, our first number is x square, diba? Plus, yung second number natin na 22 minus x, diba? If we subtract x to 22, the result is our second number. So, therefore, 22 minus x, tapos i-square po natin, then the result is 250 or equal to 250. And the question is, find the numbers. Okay, so we have here, simplify. Ito na po yung equation natin, di ba? X squared plus quantity 22 minus x, tapos square is equal to 250. So, we will simplify this one. So, x squared, this one, our binomial, if we square this one is 484, 22 squared, that's 484. Then, 22 times x, that is negative 22x, times 2, that is negative 44x. Diba? Tapos, negative x squared, that is plus x squared. Diba? Negative x squared or negative x times negative x, the result is positive x squared. Then, is equal to 250. So, simplify again. X squared plus x squared minus 44x plus 484 is equal to 250. Ito na po siya. Combine similar terms. X squared plus x squared, result is 2x squared. Negative 44x. Okay? Tapos ito siya. 484 is equal to 250. Then, we will use the addition property of equality. Ma-equate natin into 0. Diba? So, sa kabila naman is 250 minus 250. Cancel. Nagiging 0. So, 484 minus 250 is 234. So, ito na po yung bagong equation natin. Diba? Then, we will divide both sides by 2. I-reduce the lowest term. So, magiging 2x squared minus 44x plus 234 is equal to 0. Divide everything by 2. Okay, the result is x squared. 2x squared divide 2 is x squared. 44x divide 2 is 22x. Okay, and plus 117 is equal to 0. Then we will factor this one using the how to factor general trinomial. Di ba? Yung kanina. This is a perfect yung method number 1 kanina. Di ba? Ito po siya. Yung leading coefficient niya is 1. Okay? Or kung makikita natin dito na yung first term at saka sa last term is perfect square is a perfect square, then we can use the perfect square, how to factor perfect square trinomial. Okay, so the factor of this one is quantity x minus 13 times the quantity x minus 9. So let's review nung nakaraan nating discussion kanina, yung how to factors, di ba? Yung general trinomial, perfect square trinomial, sum difference of cubes, at saka nung sa module 1 po natin. Then let's equate this one into 0. So nagiging quantity x minus 13 is equal to 0. Then x minus 13 is equal to 0. Sa kabila naman, quantity x minus 9 is equal to 0. X minus 9 is equal to 0. Then, using the property of equality, add both sides by positive 13. Cancel si negative 38 sa positive 13 dito. Sa kabila is 0 plus 13. So, our x is 13. Sa kabila naman, add both sides by positive 9 para makancel si negative 9 dito. At saka si positive 9. Sa kabila is 0 plus 9. Therefore, x is equal to 9. So, therefore, the numbers are 9 and 13. So, if we add 13 and 9, the result is 22. And if we square 9 and 13, diba? The sum of their squares, 9 squared plus 13 squared, the result is 250. I hope na naintindihan po natin yung ibig natin sabihin. Okay? So, once again, this is my teacher Koy of Easy Math Tutorial. Thanks for watching and see you on my next video.